Khatera Yusufi is a global speaker, award-winning journalist, TV presenter, UN women's advocate, public speaking mentor, and host of the Empowered Brilliance Podcast.
When I was doing my research, one of the things that you have been championed for is your ability to tell a story, but in a very real and an authentic way. Sometimes one conversation unlock that changes how you see the world, life, love, relationships. Could you remember you heard a story that gave you all those emotions and you're like, wow, this is what a story can actually do?
I have an Afghan background, so I've been grown up in Germany, and my German teacher asked me, where are you from? So then I started to share my story of escape and of hope and the challenges we went through, of course, in my family. So there I thought okay, stories are very important that connect people. It's like a bridge, the right to express yourself and don't be judged by the way we are expressing it.
I read a book, okay, and the whole book was about masculine and feminine energy.
He's saying it, Khaled, okay, because he's a man, okay, he said that. Khatera said that because she's a woman, of course, she has this idea. No, I think success is very personal.
It is, yeah.
Success is not what we see from the outside. You just have to feel good in what you're doing and believe in yourself.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Hope It Helps. And guys, today I have a very, very special guest with me. Please welcome to the show, Miss Khatera Yusufi. Khatera, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Khaled. I'm very happy to be here.
Thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate it. So Khatera, I always like to give my audience context of how this even, came to be. So we got connected, I think, earlier in the year. And I think you reached out to me because you were about to launch your own podcast,
yes.
the Empowered Brilliance Podcast, which we're going to get into, guys. So stay tuned. And I've been following your journey of building the podcast, the guests you've had on, and I really appreciated the questions you asked and the way you would guide the conversation. I'm like, man, there's some really good content here. And then when I started to do my research, I'm like, oh, okay, no surprise. She's an international award-winning TV journalist and presenter and so on, and a speaker. So now I'm like, okay, now it makes a lot of sense. So what I wanted to do for this conversation, Khatera, is touch on the podcast, of course. I'd love to learn about your experience as, in the TV space, as a speaker, as a presenter.
Yes.
How has media and journalism changed given everything that's going on now? And of course, I have to touch on the amazing work you're doing to support women, across the world. But before we get into all of that, Khatera, why don't you give all of us a little bit of background about yourself and we'll take it from there.
Sure. Thank you so much, Khaled, for inviting me. It's a great pleasure to be here, and you're doing an amazing work with your podcast.
Thank you so much.
I'm also following your work. And it's good to be here today to talk about media and my experience. So I have studied journalism and mass communication in Germany at the Television Academy, and I've been grown up in Germany and working as a TV presenter and journalist there, and hosting a lot of TV programs. One of them is the famous format Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
Yeah, that was a big, I was like, what?
Yes.
That's really cool.
So that's something I think a lot of people like this format. It's a family program, and people are watching it to just test themselves with the questions. So
Sure.
Yeah, that was an amazing, incredible experience also for me to do that. And it's the language was Farsi, so it's in Persian language. I think here in Dubai, you also have it, this format, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
I think they used to, when I was a kid, yes. I used to watch it. I forgot his name, George Jardahi, I think was named something. I'm maybe misquoting his last name, but when I was a kid, I remember watching it with my parents growing up, yeah.
So that was, an incredible journey. I've done this program and also hosted talk shows, and worked as a producer and, journalist. So that's, the journey is, it was in media before I started my podcast. Definitely, so there is an experience in that.
Yeah.
But TV is completely different than podcasting.
Yeah, and we were it's funny. Okay, why don't we just, dive into, start there since we're here? Because right now we're talking off camera of the differences between podcasting and TV in terms of not only the format, the production and so on. So I was curious for you, coming from a TV background that is very structured, even as a presenter, you have to speak a certain way, ask certain questions, you have a script. Has it been challenging for you going from a, let's say, more serious traditional format to something like a podcast, which is a lot more free-flowing and you can bring a lot more of Khatera into the conversation?
Yeah, definitely. That's a very good question because it's absolutely different. Yeah, on TV you are really like you have a script, you're on a certain rules and how you present something. The questions are different, and of course also the way you present, it depends. Or is it a news channel, or is it a infotainment, for example, like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire was a certain format. You have to present it like that with the whole concept, so absolutely different. And I feel that podcasting is more personal, more intimate, and you can have deep connections with your guest. You can ask more personal questions, and you can bring also your experience in that, which I really like, because the books we have read or the experience we made in life, all these things, you can't do that on TV because you can't bring your own personal stories on that if you have a certain format. But on podcasting, I can bring that. And I really like that because I'm a person very curious. I'm reading a lot, and all the experiences, everything, I bring that in the questions, in the conversations. And I'm also very eager to ask my guests these questions. I try to also find guests who are really the stories are transformational, and they can bring like insights for the audience, and where you can also talk about life and about about everything. Like I think that's very, very good to do. You are more free, and you can have really like a flowing conversation. Sometimes it's really very, very interesting, and I learn myself also from my guests, and which is really good because you really learn every day when you do that, when you make your research about your guests and about the topics. So it's really good.
Yeah,
it's fun also.
It's so much fun. That's why I love doing this.
Yes.
On the point you made about the research and questions and preparing and the format, because I was thinking, I'm like, this is interesting. When you were preparing questions, let's say I was coming on TV,
Yes.
and you were going to interview me. And now when you prepare questions for your podcast, do you approach it with a different mindset, or do you think like regardless of the medium, I would probably ask you the same questions?
I think in the podcast it's a little bit different.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, for example, in TV, we had also a section in the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. For example, when we had our guests, we had a selection of the guests who were on the final. For example, they answered the questions, then they were selected. So, of course, we made research also about their hobbies and what they like, and we brought some stories as well. And we visited them at home or in their office, for example, made a nice feature about them as well. But it was very short, only a few minutes.
Yeah, very
you
true.
can't like dive deep in all the personal stories and everything in that. But in a podcast, when I make my research about a guest who has a incredible story of transformation, challenges, and all these things they are going through, I can ask them very deep questions and very personal questions as well, and not about themselves, as well about life, about personal development, about all these things which you can't do on a certain format on TV. And it's really good to make this research about someone, about their lives. That's a lot of fun, really, doing that. And of course also asking questions about life, about personal development, about self-mastery. I like that because I'm reading a lot books about this myself, so I try to also find guests who are interested in that, because then I can bring my own interest in that. So that's really fun.
If you like any of these books, by the way, please feel
please
feel free.
Definitely, if I will see you are also into books, of course.
And so like personal development is
you're
right up my alley. We could sit here till next year, and we can continue
yes.
talking about that subject.
It's so great to do like research about that, and bring also conversation when someone likes to talk about. I love to talk more about these things. So sometimes you can't, because it will be more like technical talks about some insights the guests are giving, but sometimes it's good when you talk about this.
100%.
This is like, for me, it's really great.
What I love about when I look at like reading and podcasting, in both situations I'm learning. What I love about the podcasting though is you bring in, like, over the time now that I've done hundreds of episodes, I've spoken to so many different people about so many different things, so you can pull so many learnings that you've had, like, oh, I spoke to this guy who does this. What do you think about that? And it just makes it a much richer conversation, I feel.
Yeah, that's true. Absolutely. Because you have read some books, for example.
Exactly.
And then you can bring that, and someone else has a totally different perspective on that, and you can start a conversation and then make a dialogue. And that's really good, because then the audience will find something for themselves as well. And they can think about it, and you can create a dialogue. And that's also something good.
100%.
Yeah.
So continuing on the podcast for a second. So I know, guys, the podcast is called the Empowered Brilliance Podcast.
Yes.
And you said something interesting. Brilliance isn't something you find, it's something you remember. You already have everything you need inside you. So could you tell us what's the show about? What's your mission with the show? And what is the message, I guess, what is the impact you're trying to have through running the podcast?
Yeah, I wanted to create a platform with this
Okay.
podcast that people can come and shine. Yes, like step into your own brilliance, because we all have brilliance inside of us. We just have to unlock it and bring our talents, our knowledge, our thoughts, everything we have, bring it on a platform, talk about it. And sometimes it's good when you talk with other people about certain topics, then you discover as well about yourself.
100%.
So it's a platform about self-discovery, about self-mastery, and giving the guests also a platform to bring their insights, to bring their knowledge and their personal stories as well, so that other people like my audience can learn from them. They can also reflect sometimes and see, wow, yeah, I see that as well, like that. So it's a platform where you can inspire other people, where you can empower as well, and share your personal stories. And I really believe that it's important to bring also valuable content. I know nowadays it's very important to have a lot of followers and all these things, which is also important. But sometimes it's important to bring really good content, try to bring values, give values to people, so that they can also reflect, they can create, stories, share their own stories as well, and then connect with other people. And my aim is just to empower people and make inspiration for other people to just to learn from other stories and know that there is a lot in the world to share.
Very true. Very true. Yeah, there's endless stories.
And we want to listen to good stories.
100%.
Stories of challenge, of resilience, of empowerment. This is something for myself as well, that empower myself as well when I listen to these stories. Yes.
Yeah, and so touching on the stories now, I know when I was doing my research, one of the things that you have been championed for is your ability to tell a story, but in a very real and authentic way. But from a young age, you notice that the power of stories, the power to connect, to heal, and to transform, just like you're saying now.
Yes.
Sometimes one conversation, there could be something someone could say could be the unlock that changes how you see the world, life, love, relationships. So I want to just go back to the beginning. Could you tell me, or could you remember the first time you heard a story that gave you all those like emotions, and you're like, wow, this is what a story can actually do?
Yeah, I think stories are shaping our lives a lot, because as a kid, even when you're sitting at a table with your parents, grandparents, they're sharing always stories, they're reading books, or talking to each other. So stories are always shaping us, always as a small kid. And for me, one story was very interesting. For one day, my teacher asked me to share where I am from. This question, where are you from? Because I have an Afghan background, so I've been grown up in Germany, and my German teacher asked me, where are you from? So then I started to share my story of escape and of hope and the challenges we went through, of course, my family. So I shared it, and my classmates came and said, oh, we didn't saw that like this. Oh, okay, these stories are also existing. So there I thought, like, okay, stories are very important, that connect people. It's like a bridge. Sometimes you're from different culture, from different languages and everything, but through stories, you are connected. It's like a bridge, because you listen to the story of someone who's from a totally different background, and then you reflect and say, wow, yeah, this is also something is existing in this world. They're from different culture. And of course, I was living between two cultures, like Afghan and German cultures, and this is also something, it's different. But again, stories can tell you that your culture is different, and then we learn from each other. And then it's also interesting because it's inspiring. I think being different is also inspiring, you know, that you are from totally different part of the world, and now you're here, and you can make friendships, you can connect with each other, because for them it's interesting, you're different. And this is, the power of stories is sharing your own story as well, and seeing that people like it, people want to learn from you and see you differently. And it's good that we are different in a way, because everyone has their own struggles, their own stories to tell, and you can connect with people, yes. And then, of course, through that, I said that sharing stories is good. When you become a journalist, you can share stories, because people are very curious, and you know, you can bring that as well.
And so I love the way you described it as it's a bridge, and the example that you gave of when you guys, moved to Germany from a very young age, and how, people looking at you like it's a question mark, but through the story, you're able to connect with people who are, like you said, from different cultures, different backgrounds, different experiences. I think in every story, no matter what it is, I think everyone can like find something in it that like, I felt that. Yes. That happened to me. Or, oh my God, yes, of course this happened to a friend of mine. Now, you said something very interesting there on the question, where are you from? It's a very simple question. But I think this kind of plays into now the concept of, I think, identity. Yes. And so you moved to Germany when you were about, I think, 8 years old, and you basically grew up there. So, and I know you've been credited for being quite, outspoken as a person. Now, as you know, our cultures are very different, different cultures. It's not about speak out, it's about shh, don't talk, head down, respect, all that kind of stuff. So I'm curious when you're because at home you have that culture, but at school and where you are, it's a completely different one, right?
This is a very good part, because I have also written about these things. It's the identity we have.
Exactly, yeah.
But the identity we have it shapes us the way we are. Sometimes even my name, like in Germany, Khatera, which is also Arabic, it means memory. They can't even say it the way.
Khaled, I'm with you.
Like it's like always differently.
Yeah.
So I'm so happy when here the people are saying, oh, Khatera, this is Arabic. It's like, yes, finally you understand the meaning, and it's a beautiful meaning. But even it starts with that, like, Khatera, so they can't really pronounce it, and then, where are you really from? So this question, where are you really from? Oh, I'm German, but I'm in Germany, but still you are not from Germany, you're from different. But then for myself, yes, it is like, I have roots, I have Afghan roots, but I'm also in Germany. So I have from both cultures. And I try to get the positive sides from both cultures.
Sure.
Because at home, of course, you are brought up in your family, and you have your values, you have your traditional background, the traditions, religion. As a Muslim family, and as an Afghan, we have totally different things. Sometimes you have to explain at school why you're not eating this and that.
So, that's a good. I never even thought of that. Yeah, true.
From these things, so you're always a little bit different. You have to explain yourself why, and so sometimes it feels strange. But then I thought to myself, I am the way I am. I'm proud that I have these roots, and I'm proud about my values, about my identity, and I try to balance it between home and school and friends, and then work to be myself the way I am, because I'm a mix of both cultures, and I love to take the positive sides from both cultures. Because I speak the language, my mother language, Persian. We have learned it. We were speaking at home Persian, so we wanted to keep that, and I'm very happy that my family tried to keep all the values, all the traditions, everything, because that's the beauty of that as well. But then the positive side of outside world, which is the European side, is like freedom of expression, to develop yourself and use all these things to educate yourself, to learn from the world, which is also you can use for your identity, for your personal development. And sometimes being shy and being, like in our culture is normal and sometimes good to be a shy girl, don't talk much.
True,
I know as a kid, I was very shy. It's very...
Really?
Okay,
I would have never guessed that.
I mean, when people see me on stage, that I'm so like confident and very outspoken. And I say like, I was so shy, and people who know me, my family and rest, yes, we know that you're so shy, but on stage you're totally different. I said, I'm a totally different person, because, as a kid, in a Middle Eastern family, it's always good when a girl is not talking much, is shy, and it's not, this is, we have been brought up like this, and sometimes for me it was even difficult in school to stand in front of people and talk. When the teacher said, come, it's your turn, you have to make a speech or something. It was for me, sometimes I was very shy, and the teacher said, you have to talk louder. Why are you so, you're so good, but you're very shy. You have to talk loud. And I really learned that at school, at the television academy. Sometimes my teachers, I had the possibility to learn from the best, like very famous TV presenters and producers, and sometimes they said, you are very good, you have so much inside of you, but you're sometimes very shy. Why is that? This must be a cultural thing. And it was like that.
For sure.
So I trained myself as well. To be different, because on TV you can't be that. You have to be different, you have to be more present, more outspoken, and all these things. And it's not a bad thing, it's a good thing. So you have to see that some things, we thought that it's good because it's a cultural thing, but you have to be yourself, I think, at the end of the day. And when you feel well in your own skin, and when you're true to your own values, and whatever resonates with yourself, just do that. I thought to myself, I'm doing that the way I am, and I don't want to be like in a certain
box.
Box, exactly. In a certain box that you have to be like that. If you're in media, you have to be like that. No, I am the way I am. I want to choose only projects which resonates to me, which I say, yes, I can find myself in that. If I can't find myself in that, I'm not doing it. Like many offers came to me, like TV shows. I said, no, that's not my personality is not like that, so I'm not doing it. And I said no, even very good formats and everything. But when something is really like, I say, yes, it's good, I can do that, then I'm doing it. And for podcasting, which I like, is because I can bring like also knowledge, and I can bring like deep conversations, and also topic about life. I think sometimes there are in other things, like you can't bring like very deep conversations. Sometimes a little bit more superficial from the outside. You can't bring too much. But if you're in a podcast, it's like a conversation with a friend. You're talking about life and about everything. And I think that's good. I want to continue this and do that, and also see what else is coming.
No, for sure. And the point you made about it's funny when you're talking about like the home life in school and friends. You almost, like, from my perspective, when I'm looking at that, is you're almost three different people at the same. You have to be three different people at the same time, especially in the younger years. Especially in the younger years before we go through like our teenage phase, and we start to be like, no, this is who I am, and our identity starts getting formed. My question is, I'm curious. You said you wanted to pick the best of both worlds, which I think you have in your career. Do you think you would have the confidence, you would have had the confidence to be outspoken and to be recognized for being outspoken now, if you didn't have the opportunity to grow up in that kind of environment? And like in Germany, for example, you know what I mean? Because I could imagine because I'm sure it's a bit of both. Part of it is just who you've always been since day one. And a part of it, of course, there is the environment, there is the nurture. So do you think you would have been able to achieve that without living in that environment?
I think your environment is shaping you definitive, because wherever you are, if it's a good or bad environment, it shapes you definitive, yes, because we are the people, 5 people around us.
Of course, yeah.
Shape us. Imagine the whole society shaping you much more. No, definitive. I think that Germany in that point helped me a lot, because my education, of course, the school, the teachers, the university, I learned a lot from people who are really incredible, and I think that that would be different if I were not there. And it's also shaped me, for example, to be someone to help other women. For example, after that, the education I had, I could help Afghan women at the UN Women Committee, because I think I couldn't do it maybe if I were not in Germany, because I think that shaped me a lot to be more courageous, to be more brave in that, also to have the platform as well, to have the freedom as well, to express yourself in a way where you can be a voice for other women. Like, for example, for initiatives, I supported violence against women, which is very important. Afghan women suffering domestic violence, it's not just physical, but also psychologically and mentally, and they can't express themselves because of shame or because of fear and everything, yeah. So I think it's good to bring awareness to all these topics, and that I could do because of the education I had in Germany, definitive, and the environment I had there, and the support I also had, because express yourself as a woman, it's good, you can do it. It doesn't matter if you're a woman or a man. As a human being, you have the right to express yourself, and don't be judged. This is very important, that we should be not judged by the way we are expressing ourselves, and that's something also I think I learned it from definitely from my education and experience.
On the judgment part, I think that's a very, very important point you brought up, because it's kind of I believe, in order to completely express myself, and for anyone to completely express herself, you are putting yourself at the risk of being judged.
Yes.
Whether you like it or not. I know it would be. I support you. I'd love to not judge, but at the same time, we are people. Whether we are actively judging, subconsciously, we are always being judged. So I think that's why it takes. And this is kind of touching on when you said the stories and the power to change. And you said, one of the bravest things you can do is to rewrite your story.
Yes.
And when I was thinking about that question, I was like, why does that require bravery? I was thinking, but now listening to our conversation just now, is because to rewrite your story, that means I'm telling the whole world who has known me a certain way,
absolutely,
I'm not like that anymore, and you're going to have to get, why are you changing? Don't do that. This is not good. Oh, you're not the same person. So yeah, you have to risk what's going to come too, right?
Absolutely. When you come with your own stories, or when you're in public, when you're present, of course, people are watching you, they are judging you, because it's very easy to judge other people while you're doing yourself something.
100.
It's like you're watching Ronaldo is doing something wrong. The goal hasn't worked, because they say, "Oh, Ronaldo, why you didn't make the
I
football
would have
there?"
done
I
this
would have done it so easily.
Of course, yeah,
he's
100%.
a champion, and we are watching him and like judging him, like kind of, you know what I mean?
Very true.
So it's so easy to judge people.
Yeah.
You have to do it like this and this. But when we are in their shoes, then we know it's exactly different. So, of course, you have to be ready to be judged. And not everyone will like you, because people are different. People have different opinions. I think we have to sometimes, when you're sensitive, you think like, oh, they wrote something, or these are things, or they think maybe, I said something and maybe they think wrong about me, or I laughed too much. Maybe they say, why she's laughing too much? Even that's very small things, but it's like that, yeah?
Sure.
Or when you're talking with a woman, or when you talk with a man, even like in our society, it's like even talking with a man, or standing beside a man, giving hands, all these things. We have so many things, in the society. We are getting judged, definitive, yes. But I think at the end of the day, it's important that you are just true to your own personality. You have your own personality, and there are good people. They are your audience, even. For example, imagine 5 people are really good. They know what you're talking about. They know your talks. They understand you. This is more important than maybe 10 other people are saying something they can't even understand you. Maybe in 10 years they will understand you because their mind and their brain will develop 10 years later. But you can't wait for this, right?
Very true. Very true.
So you have to do what you're doing. And just the good people, the right people will understand you and they will get your point. And judgment is very easy, believe me. And it's a lazy thing.
It is very lazy.
Yeah,
yes.
It's a very lazy thing because we are working hard on ourselves and our whatever we are doing, and we are putting so much efforts. And we are out in the world, but we want to change. If you want to be a leader, then you have to be judged as well. Because you want to be a leader, not a follower, right?
Yeah, that's 100%.
So you have to make the first step, and then people will follow you.
Yeah. I'm curious. So growing up, we spoke about how, the environment shaped you, studying at, that German university, all that stuff. So, and we talked about, expressing yourself and being judged. I'm sure for you, that was like that process to get to a place where you have the confidence to fully express yourself was not a smooth sailing ride with with lots of ups and downs. So I guess was there a moment when you made a decision in your head, I'm like, all right, from this point on I'm just going to be 100% who I am, speak what I feel, what I think and believe? Or was it a gradual progression over a time of little moments that you're like, that was a little bit, I like that. I'm going to do that again. And I'm going to do that again. And I'm going to say that again.
Yeah, that's a good point. Sometimes you stop yourself when because we are human beings. And as a woman, I'm sensitive, I must say, yes. But I see it not as a weakness. Yes, I want to embrace my feminine energy as well. And it's good to be feminine. It's good to be a woman. I think we are the way we are. I think we should not be scared of anything. That's very important because, of course, sometimes there are things, it hurts you and then you stop and say, but it's because some people don't see your success or they don't see you shine, and then, you think you have to stop. No, you should not do that because you know what's good for you, you know what's right, and you want to do it in a good way. So just continue, and the good people and the good things will come to you. I believe when you do good, good will come. We have a saying also: just put good in the water, and it will come back to you. So I think that's very important. Just keep the way you are. And I believe really, because when you believe in yourself and believe in your abilities and believe that you're doing the right thing, and sometimes magical things are happening because the right people are crossing your way. Because it is important because you want to be with people who think the same. And it will happen. It will happen because you are following your own path, which is for you right. So I think it is important to just continue, follow what you like, and it's very important to follow your passion. When you like something, like for example podcasting or writing or presenting something, sharing story, when you like this because you want to do it in a purpose. Yeah. And when you have this purpose and when you have a feeling that I think that's what I want to do, just do it, because then it must be something inside of you telling you to do that. And you can bring change. You can bring good change in a good way and inspire other people. Because sometimes when I see like young women came to me and said like, because of you, I have the feeling that I've also been seen. When I see that in Afghan girls, they told me, yeah, we see you on TV and you're doing a good work. And one day I want to be also a presenter, a journalist, or I want to be something to empower other women. I see you and I'm getting motivated. That's something for me. I said, wow, that's great. That's what I want. That's what I want. I want to, even when you inspire one person and when you change something in one person,
it's a ripple effect, right?
Yeah, it's a ripple effect. You did a great impact because you will hear it later on how the impact was, because we can't imagine that it can be like that, but it's really like that. Because when I read a book, and it's impacting myself because I change my perspective in life. So imagine, it's the same thing. You can do it yourself for other people as well. It is important in which environment you are. I see, for example, Dubai as a very good example for women who can grow, who can be part of innovation, who can be not only heard but also championed.
Absolutely, yeah.
And like we have great initiatives like the Dubai Women Establishment, for example, who are giving women a great platform to shine, to develop their skills. And in Dubai, you feel like really safe and heard as a Muslim woman. You have a lot of respect and you can grow. You can part of the growth, not only because you're a woman, because you're a human being and you are respected the way you are with all your values, all your feminine energy, everything is respected the way you are. You don't have to like explain yourself. And I see that's a great example. If we can have this kind of environment in other countries as well, at other areas in the society, I think that would be a great example to work between men and women in a good way.
Yeah.
So that we are not losing ourselves. Because as a woman, you should be feminine, not like a man. You have to keep that, but at the end, but also you have to be heard that your skills or your talents and everything should be also seen. This is important. So I think this is something as a woman sometimes we struggle because it's not easy, but when we have good initiatives and good institutions who can support us, I think then we find a platform to shine in a good way.
Yeah. So I'm so happy you brought up the woman aspect, because I know this is an area you're incredibly, very passionate about. And it's listening to you, and when I was doing my research, so many of the things you said, because, my wife has a very big position, in a company, and over the last year, she's been going through this like transition of, becoming like a managing director and so on. So she tells me sometimes, like, Khalid, when I'm at work now, I feel like I'm very in like my masculine, because it's almost like a catch-22, because she's super feminine, which is why so many her teams love her and she's so caring and everyone wants to be with her. And then at the same time, because you're in that position, you have to bring a certain maybe type of masculine energy to make to be more maybe harsh sometimes, more direct. And what I've learned, when I have my conversations with her, I tell her, I'm like, it's not one or the other, it's both. Like your feminine energy is what makes you amazing at what you do and why everyone wants to like work with you and do that. But at the same time, everything, I think, whether it's a man or a woman or a man, even men in like high positions that are very, typical, ruthless, whatever. Also, you could use some empathy too.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So
that's a very good point.
That's why I always think it's just on both sides. You need both. It's not one or the other, honestly.
It would be great to have this balance.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because, our brain is functioning differently. Yes, men are more logical, women are more sensitive and more, differently and more emotions. And we want to express our emotions, and men are more like they want to be logic and differently. But if we have both, if we can, because as a human being, we have both. And if we can activate both sides, then we have the balance. Yes, as your wife, for example, has a high position, of course she has responsibility, she has to act differently, and sometimes she can't be very maybe emotional, because then she will be labeled, the woman, you're true. Emotional or something. Of course it's not easy, it's not an easy task. Women who are leaders, they need they need that as well. But I think that's the balance. That's the balance we need as a woman, as a man. Then we can work also together as a team, and we can understand each other better, because both sides are important to have as a human being. And man can also have show emotions and empathy. Exactly. As a boss, you can show empathy. Then you can lead better. You will be a better leader than, people are afraid to talk to you because, as a man, you act differently. Yeah, definitely. I think both sides, and important is at the end of the day that we have talents and skills. It doesn't matter if a man or a woman. When you have skills, talents, then you have it in this position, and that counts.
Yeah, that for sure. Yeah. And on the diving deeper into the woman aspect. So, I know throughout your career, it wasn't smooth sailing, especially as a woman of color, of course. But I know you've achieved a very prestigious Empowering Women Award. You were the speaker at the Green Oscars event in Germany. You were a member of the Victress Actress Award. You have done amazing work at the UN for launching global initiatives to support women and as a speaker. So, and you've said that true change requires women not just in front of the cameras, but behind them, editing, directing, producing, and being active in the creating of, shaping the global narrative, of what we're experiencing. So now, just as we had this point now about equality, we need equal things, right? A bit of balance, a bit of this, a bit of that, men and women, women and men, all that kind of stuff. Now, I read a book, and this is, and it really opened my eyes to like a lot of things. It was a book called The Way of the Superior Man. And what it taught me, the whole book was about masculine and feminine energy. What are the differences? What works? What doesn't? And basically in a summary of what the book was talking about is when the more equal we get as men and women, it's actually driving society away because things are not, because now everything's very mixed. So, and the feminine craves the masculine and the masculine craves the feminine. So if we're both now being, I'm less masculine now, but you're also less feminine, that's also going to play into the attraction and play all these things. So that's why when people talk about equality, I'm like, okay, I think that's just it's too much of a blanket term. I think you got to go deeper. When we say equality, what are we talking about? Because this way is not going to serve us very well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think there are some, that's a very good point to bring, yes, because from nature and even in the Middle East, we see that the roles of women and men are really divided in a good way, I must say. Like, personally, I know maybe people will see it differently now from
everyone
equality,
differently.
But personally, really, if the man, because man is the provider, man is the protector, man is, watching over the family, and just also physically stronger. We can't put something heavy. It is like that. That's the reality. And if we really do if we know our jobs in a good way, like a man is a protector and providing, and a woman can be feeling protected and safe and stable, I think then, of course, from nature, we will have the way we are. As a woman, we are mothers, we need protection. We need protection. We need safety. We need the feeling that, the man is protecting me. We need that. Definitive. I think if we do it in this way, then the society, the structure would be functioning very well. But unfortunately, the roles have changed a little bit. So because some men are not taking the responsibility or the way it should be, or they don't understand their jobs, I say, like the way they are as a man. So women has to change, has to take the roles of man. I think that makes the women then a little bit different. But I think it is important that we should not lose these roles. That is very important. Otherwise, the society will go in a different direction. Equality is good to have it that, for example, when you want to, as a woman, you want to be a pilot, like you can be a pilot. Or when you're a captain, I saw last time Captain Sahar, which is an amazing, incredible lady. I saw her at the Arab Media Summit. She is a role model. An Arab woman who is a captain, she made it because she's a woman, but she had the ability, the skills, she made it. So if you have a dream, you want to be a pilot, you want to be an engineer, as a woman, you can do it, of course, yeah? So there should be not a limit that you can't do it because you're a woman, or as a man, you want to be a writer. Why not? You can be a writer, you can do it, whatever you like. But there are some roles, I think, in the society. If we could follow this, then the structure of family will function better, I must say.
100%.
Because
100%.
as a man, you have to protect, and as a woman, you have to be protected. I feel like that. But sometimes it's not working, unfortunately. And then women are being alone, and then they need to be supported by other people like this. And then I think is something which is not very the way it should be. I think this is the ideal way. That's the ideal way. That you can embrace your masculine energy as a woman. You can embrace your feminine energy. You can be a mother. You can be at home, and you don't have to even feel guilty that you're home and you're taking care of your children, because this is a job, this is a sacred job, this is a 24 hours job, and that should be also respected. And we should not explain ourselves. Someone wants to be at home, wants to be a mother, don't want to work, that should be respected. Someone wants to have a career, want to learn something, have a job, should be also respected, I think. But I think the balance between all these things should be done, but sometimes it's not working in some societies,
Exactly.
even in Europe maybe. But here in Middle East, it's working very well. We have the respect as a woman, we're going somewhere, we're feeling safe. There are some things, you know, it gives you a good feeling. It gives you a good feeling to have the respect as a woman, as a Muslim woman. Because there are the rules of the society. People understand that we have been brought up like this in our society. And if that is in a good way, I think it's good. It's important.
Yeah. On the point you made about, let's say, if a woman wants to be a pilot and so on, when people talk about equality, and I've heard this topic, you know, brought up in different formats, I think someone once mentioned equality of opportunities. So let's say me and Khatera are applying for this job.
Yeah.
We're like, okay, it's not like, oh, Khat because he's a guy, or Khatera because she's a woman. Who's better?
Who's better?
Full stop.
Exactly.
You know,
that would be good.
That's it.
Absolutely.
Full stop. That would be obviously the dream scenario. I think when it comes to this whole woman debate, conversation, equality, I think this is what's happening in the world. So for history, we've been all on this side, like very heavy on the men. And then as time goes on, you know, women started to be able to work, you know, all the stuff that has helped women become, like, enter society in the similar way.
Yes.
And then the feminist movement, you know, started and whatever, and that helped a lot. But then I'm like, from my perspective, and then it went a little bit, you know, it's gone a little bit, the feminist movement went a little bit too far. And now I think the whole world, even with like the woke movement, with like cancel culture, I think we're like that. And then we flew the other way. And now we're starting to kind of find like some type of middle ground, I think.
Yeah, I think it's changing a little bit. I think it's also about the values of family. Family values is so important, you know.
That's a great point, yeah.
Sometimes, because at the end of the day, you're working, you're doing career, you're doing everything. For what are you doing this if you find no happiness? And what is happiness? For me, I think it's so important to have your family, the family values, you're really real people who loves you, you know, that is very important. I think we have to go in this direction, because the values we have gives us a really real happiness. I believe in that. And I think people are now also considering this more. They see like what is really real. All these things, yeah, it is good about equality and everything, yes. But at the end of the day, you have to choose what you really want. Yeah, what makes you really feel good about yourself, about all the values you have in the society. And I think it should be not extreme. I don't like this extreme and everything. Balance is the key. I think balance is the key, because in everything we're doing, keep the balance.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I always tell people, and I've said this on the podcast before, I think, Khatera, balance is this magical world that doesn't exist. You know what I'm saying? Because I was like in balance. Okay, I fixed that, but now this is also imbalance. So like, I don't know what balance. I think it's just a mythical place that we just keep trying to like, you know, keep trying to get to.
We're always on the search of that.
Yeah.
We are always on the search. It's not easy to find it. Yeah, definitely. I think it's a struggle.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
Listening to your podcast with Sanja, she mentioned one of the biggest misconceptions talking on the women aspect is, you know, too emotional, you know, but she said something that I thought was very interesting. She's like, but perspective isn't gendered. And when she said that, I was like,
that's good.
That's actually really, really, really interesting. But how do you, okay, because we could have a debate. You could say something, a third party could look at it like, oh no, Khatera is saying that, it's because she's a woman, that's why she has that perspective. Which also to a certain extent might be true, but you have to kind of like, but it might not be the case. But there will always come, whether a man is saying it, a woman is saying it, there's always going to come with a certain stigma depending on where the message is coming from. How do you break that though?
Yeah, that's not easy. That's tough. Exactly. Yeah, of course, because there are certain images we have in our minds, like, okay, he's saying it, Khalid, okay, because he's a man, okay, he said that. Khatera said that because she's a woman, of course, she has this idea. No. I think we have to train ourselves, we have to train our minds, and it has to start at home somehow, in families, that women and men has to be educated both, yeah?
Yeah.
To see it differently. To just, when we talk about something, when we have a debate, don't bring the man and women thing. Just see it, human being are talking to each other. I mean, that would be so amazing. Sometimes I see, like, for example, when you have a conversation with a man as a woman, just focus on the content, on the conversation, not about the gender that men and women are talking, just about the conversation, about the topic. We're talking about serious things right now, about, like very, very deep conversations. So why are we not focusing on the content? And we're thinking about, oh, she or he is telling that. I think we have to change our mind in that. We have to switch the narratives that human being is important. It's not just, or the content we are talking, the conversation,
Yeah.
not about he or she is saying this and maybe.
And this is one of my biggest frustrations, Khatera, is when I'm having this type of conversation with, whether it's a guy, whether it's a girl, it doesn't matter. And then you bring in the gender aspect into this. I'm like, where in this conversation did I mention like man, woman, man? Like what? Because it changes. It also, I think, takes away from the reality of the conversation or the perspective that you have. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just because he's a guy. He's saying that. Just because it takes away, because they might be true. That might be right,
But we are more than that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Bigger.
Thank you.
Bigger than
yes,
that.
absolutely.
Our mind, our mind as a person, as a personality is bigger than our gender, our origin, or whatever,
Yeah.
Like there are topics which is world topics, like for example personal development or motivation. All these topics, it's not about a certain culture, certain gender. It's about, for example, my one of my favorite mentors, favorite guides, I can say, Dr. Joe Dispenza. You have heard about him.
Oh,
He's
yeah, for
talking,
sure. 100%, yes.
Metaphysics,
Yeah.
totally from different worlds.
Yeah.
I love reading his books, and I always listening to his talks, and even I was inspired when one day I was walking and made my morning walk and listening to his talks, and he said like, step into your own brilliance, and I was like, wow, this is my motto, which I'm taking for my podcast. I was inspired by him because unlock your power, the power of your mind, and step into your brilliance. And when you listen to his talks, you say like, oh my God, the world is totally different. And we're talking sometimes about things which are so unnecessary. We are, see how big the mind is when you listen to people like that. And I think we have to do that, to just switch our narratives and think differently about the world and about people. Then we think bigger.
100%.
Bigger,
100%.
Than we are, because we are so small.
And this is where I think why podcasts have become so popular, because it's giving us the ability to listen to people to start changing our mindsets. And people like we look up to, that we're inspired by, like, oh, this football player, I wonder, he went through depression. Oh, I've gone through depression.
Exactly.
I felt that. No way someone of that level could have gone through that.
Absolutely.
But all these things really, really have such a big impact. And on the woman aspect, you said, the typical thing you hear, like, oh, too emotional, too much, too loud. So it was always too something. But you decided to change that and give too much now a different meaning, and it went from something negative to something that became your superpower.
Yes.
So what does too much mean to Khatera now?
I mean, too much to me, that I'm talking about topics, about bringing conversations, trying to bring dialogues, and I want the people to really switch their mind and thinking bigger than, as we said, like if we are a man or a woman, or talking to a man or a woman, or laughing or saying this and that. No, don't think small, think bigger. See the world from a different perspective. And really, I mean, we know that we are using only 5% of our brain, and I just hope that we will use more of that to think bigger, Myself as well. I'm learning every day, and learning is something I think we should not stop. It is really, it's a farce. As we say also in Quran, you have to learn, because only through learning every day, we can be a human being.
100%.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that's important. So just think bigger, and I want to bring the bigger minds. And one day, maybe I will interview Dr. Dispenza.
I'm sure.
I try to manifest this.
Yeah, we'll get him. 100%. Oh, manifestation is right up his alley, so you're good.
That's
You're
a
good.
different story,
He's
yeah.
coming. He's
Yes,
coming. Don't worry.
yes.
I know you've won many awards for being such a champion, for women and so on. But I love the story of that letter that you kept from that fan that was like, because of you, that moment, seeing you on TV made me, I felt seen and inspired me to, do that. Now, I have two questions on this. So I guess, how does it feel, first of all, to know that you're having a positive impact on women globally? Because I can tell it's something very personal and passionate to you.
Yes, definitely. I think, being from a country like, my origin, where I've been born in Afghanistan and Kabul, I think that is shaping me, because when I see women there, when I listen to their stories, I talk to them. I've been talking to many women. This is something, it's putting something inside of you that you want to be a voice for them. You want to make them shine, because they are very, very good, but no one is listening to them. No one is listening to their stories, because they are not courageous enough. Maybe they are too shy and they don't have the platform. I think this is so important. If you think like, okay, I can maybe change something in them, motivate them, inspire them, and one day they will use it in their life. And I did something good. And I saw that when I talked to young girls, they came to me and said, we saw you as a role model, and you're brave, and you're teaching so good, all the topics and everything. So I said, wow, that's great, because when you do that, it means you're really giving hope to them. You're giving hope to them, because they can dream, and it's so good. It's so important to dream.
Yeah.
Because I know that when I was a kid, I was dreaming. Yes, I want to do something to change the world, and I was reading this book.
Don't we all,
that.
man? Yeah,
all these
100%.
things. So I think it depends. Dreaming is so important, and gives you so much hope, especially when you go through challenges, or your family going through challenges. And I mean, we all went through these challenges. We're born in war-torn places and all these things, but then being so strong and using your strength, and not letting your past influence you, is using your strength to be an inspiration for other people. I think that this is the power we have inside of us, to just really think on the positive things, and to develop yourself, and use your strength for yourself, of course, to shine first, to help others to shine as well.
Yeah.
But sometimes I struggle myself, because
we all do.
Yeah,
Come on,
it's not easy.
we're
It's
humans,
definitely
it's
not
normal,
easy, yes.
for sure.
I have to push myself sometimes. When there is no one else, I have to tell to myself, yes.
Come on, let's go.
Come on,
Let's go.
do it. Motivate myself sometimes.
Yeah, of course.
Really, it's like
of course.
that. Yeah.
Do you feel? I can imagine, because it's something quite personal to you, and it's something that you've spoken all over the world about. Do you feel like you carry a heavy weight of responsibility to be that voice for women? Does it feel like when you're giving these talks and the work you're doing, do you feel like I have a responsibility to do this? Is that what it feels like to you?
Yeah, I think it's, for example, when I worked for initiatives for women empowerment, for UN Women and other initiatives, it's really a feeling, because you have to really do it in a good way. People are watching you, they're looking up to you. It's definitive, you feel responsible. You want to be good in that, definitive.
For sure. Yeah.
But it's also good. It feels good. It
feels right.
Yeah, it feels right. It feels like, okay, you can do something which has purpose. You can do something meaningful. And when someone tells you their feedback, like, it's really good, you did that, we learned from you, that gives you a good feeling, and you get that with yourself. You keep it for yourself, and it gives you energy. I think that's That's a good feeling. Yeah.
No, 100%. And I think you said it there, like when it feels right, it doesn't, it is a responsibility, but doesn't feel so heavy.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, it feels right.
It feels right.
That's a good point.
Khatera, I want to be conscious of our time, so I just want to round off our conversation with three more questions for you. So I know recently you've been developing a series of online masterclasses, and I know you're a public speaking coach and a mentor for women and so on. And I know you're also you're in the process, I think, if I'm not mistaken, of writing a book.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Still, yeah, it's okay. Not yet. It's coming. First of all, I'd love to hear about, the book that you're writing, and also what for people who might want to, bring you to be a speaker or someone, what are the kind of topics that you are known to speak about?
Yes, about the book, it will be more memoir and a guiding book about personal development and finding your it's self-discovery, your identity, and the lessons I've learned in my life, and also experiences. So it will be more a memoir guide combination, which I planned many years to write, but I think sometimes things take time.
Yeah, they do.
And you
especially
need
a book
experience in your life to do that. So I think now it will be a good time to do it. Inshallah soon.
Inshallah.
So, and I hope I will be successful in that. But also I love to be more active here also in Dubai as a host, as a presenter, as an MC, also at conferences and corporate events, and leading panel discussions. There are some plans in that as well, so it's good, I think, to do that also here in this environment. Especially Dubai is really a place of growth, and every day something new is happening, and it's a good place. It's a hub from the whole world is here, and I think it's a good place for me to be a presenter here as a host and leading panels, and I'm working on that as well.
That's amazing. And I think you bring also, given the work you've done and your experience, you have the cultural nuance as growing up in a Muslim culture, as a Muslim woman, so you understand all that, but at the same time you've had so much Western experience of how to presenting and how to speak and all that. So it's a very strong combination there, especially for a place like here. So guys, anyone who wants to book Khatera, we're going to put her description, we'll put her links in the description in the show notes.
Thank you so much.
Khatera, I just have two more questions for you. These are questions I ask all my guests.
Okay.
So question number one, looking back either personally or professionally, when I ask you the question, what are you most proud of for yourself? What would you say?
Proud to be myself.
To be yourself.
Yeah. And to do whatever my heart is telling me.
That's amazing. I think if you can answer that question in that way, I consider that a success personally. That's I always used to think until I read books again, that success was a metric, a goal, a target, and I'll be lying 100% if in the process of everything I'm doing that obviously those things are important and it does affect you. But I read a book that taught me that success is more about the person you want to be than the achievement that you have. So how are you behaving? How do you treat people? How do you speak? So if you look at success with that metric, I can be successful now. Absolutely. In this conversation, automatically, right?
Success is totally different. Yeah, sometimes when you're very young, you see it differently because we think on a different level, like we have to achieve this degree and then do this and go this path.
Yeah.
But when you live your life, you see no, success is not on a certain part. Do it the way you like. And you feel well. This is I think success is very personal.
It is, yeah.
Success is not what we see from the outside. It's really personal. Success can mean just feeling the way you are, feel well in your skin. This is success. When you want to do something, because, for example, achieve something, have money or whatever, titles and everything, maybe that's success for many people, but it's not about that. Success is totally personal. I think at the end of the day, you just have to feel good in what you're doing, and create your own success. It's very important. Create your own, because this is totally personal for everyone.
Yeah, and only you. I think you said the great point that it is very personal, and only you can decide. The only person who can decide if you're successful or not is yourself.
Absolutely.
And depending on what criteria you
your
use,
own terms.
yeah,
Yes.
your own terms to judge that. That's what's going to play
Absolutely.
into that.
Yeah.
And for my last question,
Okay.
Khatera, what is the message you'd like everyone to take home with them today?
Oh, a message. Just learn every day and keep on going. Believe in yourself. Never stop believing in yourself and your abilities, and just keep growing, keep going in life.
Well, I don't think there's a better way to end the podcast than that. Khatera, I want to say thank you so much for your time and for coming on the show today. I've learned so much from you. This has been such a fun conversation. You bring a very unique perspective on, especially about the topic about women and stuff. It's not a topic I've dove into too much on the podcast. So I've really learned so much from you today. And for anyone who wants to work with you, reach out with you, connect with you, check out the podcast, where can we get in touch?
Thank you so much, Khaled, for inviting me on your podcast. Really amazing talking to you, and you're doing an amazing work. I listen to your podcast as well. And keep going.
I will,
Your great work.
Thank
We are
you.
doing it. Thank you so much for having me today here.
Thank you so much. Guys, we'll put all Khatera's links in the show notes, LinkedIn, all that, all the stuff for the podcast too. Khatera, thank you so much.
Hopefully everyone is also watching my podcast.
Yeah, please. Yeah, we're going to put it in the
Empowered
podcast.
Brilliance,
Empowered
and
Brilliance. Guys.
share their also ideas and opinions on this.
Yeah, please make sure to get in touch, guys. Give her some feedback. If there's any topics you guys want to get discuss, I'm sure
Yes.
Khatera will be more than happy to accommodate.
Thank you so
Khatera,
much.
thank you so much, guys. To everyone listening, please make sure to like, follow, share, and subscribe to the podcast. I hope it helps. Pod on all channels. And as always, guys, hope it helps. Peace. Yeah.
Good. Amazing. What a good name. Hope it helps. Yeah.
And that's another episode in the bag, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. The goal of this podcast is to provide, as I like to call it, education on demand. We cover a wide range of topics, and the goal is to provide you with the knowledge, the tools, and the insights to improve your lives both personally and professionally. And if you're enjoying the show and you're enjoying the content, if you could please do me the small favor of hitting that subscribe button, would really help me build the show and build the channel, and that's all I ask. Stay tuned for more inspiring conversations, bigger guests, and as always, guys, hope it helps. Peace.